Welcome back to Batman right here at Comicstorian. My name is Benny, and this is where you go to get your comic books narrated to you, allowing you to keep up with your favorite storylines. Today we're going to be covering more of James Tynion's Batman, which is basically setting up for the Joker War. Now, last time we discovered that things were happening within Gotham. Gotham was falling, and Deathstroke was there with his own crew to discover what was going on. Catwoman knew more information than she was letting on, and when she went to go find some information, she discovered what appeared to be the dead body of the Joker. But Harley Quinn showed up telling her hello. Batman, meanwhile, was dealing with Deathstroke and everything going on over there, and today we're going to find out exactly what is going on. I'll give you the link to the previous video down below. If you enjoy this type of content, please press that like button, and let's get into the video. After getting the Penguin to the hospital, Batman quickly returns to the streets to go after the killers who escaped the meat processing facility. His first target is the gunsmith, a veteran of half a dozen military contractors in the Middle East, quietly fired from each for testing experimental weaponry in the field without approval. Nothing a few punches couldn't stop. And as for the two ladies, they begin to fight off the designer's henchmen, and Catwoman asks, "What happened? You get homesick and come back?" Harley grabs a hold of one of the men swinging around his head, stating, "Yeah, I miss the sound of my mallet cracking skulls. Also, the guy in the coffin? Totally not Mr. J." Catwoman says, "I figured as much, so who's the stiff?" Harley kicks another man, telling her, "The guy's name was Artie, worked with the gang, sweet kid." Catwoman grabs her whip around one of the men and asks, "Did the Joker do anything like this before?" And Harley says, "Nah, not his style. When he strikes, he wants Batman to know it's him. Joker has, however, been cleaning house. I've been following clues for a little bit, but the Joker's been leaving a trail of dead clowns." Catwoman then asks her, "What are you going on about?" And Harley says, "Well, I'm going to kill him. About time to let go of the past, you know?" Just then, Harley thrusts the middle of her mallet in front of Catwoman's face and catches an arrow aimed straight at Catwoman. As Merlin and Cheshire stand off in the distance, Harley asks, "Is this connected to Robo-Zombies or Joker?" Catwoman tells her, "Robo-Zombies," and Merlin shouts, "You have been sentenced to die!" While the girls get to work back with Batman, he's following the trail of Mr. Teeth. 7 years prior, there were a series of murders in the Pacific Northwest. Every victim was found with their teeth surgically removed from their mouth and implanted into their stomach. The Portland police dubbed the new serial killer the Tooth Eater, same as Gunsmith. Nothing a few punches can't fix. But while Batman is subduing Mr. Teeth, he realizes something. This place that they're in, it's the Riddler's hideout. His computer systems are all locked except for his security feed. And as Batman gets to work on the computer, a video plays with the Riddler and a man in a white mask with the letter D across it. Lucius radios in that he did a scan. No costume is pinging on the guy. Perhaps the man was hired by Deathstroke and the others? But while Batman is watching, he sees Riddler making gestures with his hand. A sequence of numbers, 774469. And using an alphanumeric keypad, it would spell out Sphinx. It's the Sphinx riddle. What walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the midday, and 3 legs in the evening? And Lucius says, "Man, which in alphanumeric is," and Batman keys in, 626. The computer pings as it unlocks, and Batman tells Lucius, "I'm going to get this information to the Bat computer." Lucius looks through some of the files and says that he did find a location on Deathstroke through Riddler's cameras. This could be a chance to test out a new fleet of Bat-spawn drones. As dozens of Bat drones make their way into the city, Catwoman and Harley Quinn arrive carrying the bodies of Merlin and Cheshire, with Harley asking, "Where should we stick the murder people?" Batman points in the corner and then looks at Catwoman, telling her, "We need to talk." She looks down, telling him, "Yeah." But then Batman brings up the image of the masked man, asking her, "Who is he?" Realizing that it's not exactly the talk that she thought they were going to have, Catwoman shouts, "You had the Riddler. Penguin is in danger, and the Joker is, well, maybe ready to come out of hiding?" Harley chimes in, "Yeah, there's a whole thing the Joker's cooking up." Batman takes Catwoman by the arm, telling her, "Now we need to talk, in private." Catwoman says that his name is the Designer. Years ago, she made a deal with him. So did Gotham's biggest villains. She'll tell him everything, but first she just needs to tell him she's sorry. While Harley is controlling the fleet of drones like she's playing a video game, Batwoman and Catwoman leave to avoid Harley listening in. Catwoman looks out at the construction site, stating that it's beautiful. All these strange skeletons of a whole new city growing out of the old one. And Batman reaches out to her. But as Catwoman pulls away, Batman tells her, "You need to tell me everything." She begins her story, telling him that it all started years ago. Not quite the beginning, but soon after. She found a card on her pillow with an ornate D stamped on it, with a pier number and time. The D was from someone everyone thought was an urban legend. He was a master criminal, a man who concocted the greatest crimes you've never heard of. But when she arrived, she saw that there were others. The Joker, Penguin, Riddler. Soon after, one of the designer's men appeared to take them to the mysterious house. As they walked up, the designer greeted them, welcoming them to the Tataris house. Before they could begin, they're required to disarm at the door. So all the villains got rid of all of their weapons, and they walked in. They settled in, and the designer set everyone for dinner at his table and told them a story. You see, in his youth, he faced a man similar to Batman, one of the finest detectives the world had ever seen. And after being thwarted so many times, the designer needed to think bigger, better. He needed to craft a crime to deduce the way the detective would thwart it and then unthwart the thwarting. But no matter what he thought of, it always ended the same, and that's when it occurred to him. He'd been playing the game on the detective's terms. If he was going to design a crime with 1 degree of complexity, the detective would come back with 2 degrees. Defeating him would require an exponential leap forward. So, for a year, he sat in a room doing just that. He knew that in order to win, he must become the man that he would be after 20 years of battling the detective, without ever letting the detective evolve his mind. The man who left that room wasn't the man who entered. He became the designer. After that, the detective failed and was broken and humiliated. Ultimately, the detective died in the shadow of his former self. So the designer is here to offer his help. He will sit down each of them and come up with a perfect crime to become Gotham's underworld elites while giving him half their earnings. And they'll never see him again. Everyone agreed, and the designer took each of them, one by one, into a separate room to come up with a plan. One so perfect, there would be no way that Batman could actually stop it. Penguin, Riddler, herself, they all came and went. That's when the Joker went in. He was in there with the designer for what seemed like forever. And then the door opened and the designer stepped out, shouting to his men to kill them all. As the designer held his sword to Penguin's throat, he yelled that the Joker showed him what kind of city this was and what it's going to become in time. But before he could go on, there was a gunshot. The Joker shot the designer in the back of the head. He then laughed, and he proceeded to shoot everyone else in the room. They all agreed to keep this a secret, but the Joker, something in him changed that night. His eyes were different, something evil. As Catwoman finishes, Batman says that there is still something that she isn't telling him. Catwoman tells him that this is the hardest part, because if the designer is back with all of their plans, then he needs to know the target of her planned heist. Batman turns and says, "I already know it's me. My family's money. It's Wayne Enterprises. It's billions of dollars. The designer still has your plans, and I'm about to lose everything." And there you have it, the latest cliffhanger. Catwoman's plan is going to ruin Bruce Wayne. But all of this is setting up for the Joker War, which is now back in action and going to be happening thanks to the fact that comic books are being produced again. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get the next part of this storyline and hit that like button if you enjoyed this. And I'll see you next time right here at Comicstorian.